you this, or let me tell you, Maina. If you are ever in a situation where you are dealing with an insecure man, it doesn't dawn on you until it actually does. It's like you don't see it until you see it. And I feel like I've had an experience with an insecure man, and I didn't quite understand it until later on in my life. And let me explain what had happened. My first relationship, I was still in high school. I loved this man. Wow, 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 Zayo. His name was Zayo. Zayo Kamau. You can never find him, but
This
that was his
village
name.
relationship.
I tell you, Zayo Kamau. He was actually from a really bougie family. They were like super rich and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was village, but village, high class.
Okay.
So my man, we dated for a long time. My mom was always like criticizing and like, no, this man isn't right for you. I was like, why? And she kept telling me of incidences where she would see him around with other girls and all of that. Eventually, we got to a point where now I am 19. I've just wound up with high school. And he's like, you know what? I think it's important for us to get a baby now, so that in your 20s you're able to like maximize your career. Like you're not worrying about when you're going to have a child. You're not worrying about like all of these other things. You've already done them. You already have a child. Now you're concentrating on your career. And in my mind I'm just like, first of all, I'm a virgin. Ain't no way I'm going to give you babies. And what? I don't think that works for me, because first of all, I'm not in a financial position to take care of a child. I am not in a mental position. Like I am not nearly anywhere that I can be a mother to a person. Yeah? Let alone a whole child who then I have to live with for the rest of my life. That's just not going to work for me. And he kept insisting and insisting and insisting. In fact, at some point, it got to a point where it was like, if it's an ultimatum, if I don't give him a baby, mind you, we are pretty much the same age. If I don't give him a baby, then he has to start considering like leaving the relationship. And I really loved him. So I was like, should I consider this? Should I, luckily I was not an idiot, because idiots is the ones who listen to such nonsense from garbage from men. I did not succumb to the conversation. And ultimately I left that relationship, and I found out he'd been cheating on me the whole time. I was in a relationship with him for 5 years. He had been in a whole other relationship for 3 years of the 5 years we were together. Okay? So look at me, thanking God. And ultimately what that tells you is, guess what? It was an entrapment situation. He was trying to trap me, such that even if I found out the truth about what is happening behind the scenes, I'm still latched to him, because guess what? We got a baby together. Now we got to live with this drama. Have you been with a man who's been insecure?
There is a difference between insecurity and jealousy. There's jealousy that I love, especially with a man. You want your man to be jealous of certain situations. You don't want to be, hanging out with guys and your man is not feeling some type of way. I would be insulted, Like I want a man to be slightly jealous and overprotective. That's a good quality. It's positive. It's natural. There's that. And then there's insecurity. Insecurity ni mbaya ni ile ya, even your achievements kind of irk him. He's like, oh, okay. You know how you're excited to share something with your person? You've just gotten that job you were praying for. You've been broke for a hot minute depending on this person. And now you finally gotten a job. And you're like, hey, babe, I got the job. I start on Monday, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, yeah, but did you really need it? Like, it's not necessary. What are you lacking? So now
you're going to be over here with all these men.
You're going to be hanging out with these other men. That is toxic. That is your man being insecure, because he's thinking the hold he had over you, that financial hold, he can no longer control you with money. So now he's feeling some type of way.
And control can be in many ways. Mostly it's financial in our society, especially like in Africa and specifically in Kenya. Financial control is major, major, major. But at the same time, there are other forms of control where he just wants to have you tending to his every need. And this can go both ways, by the way. Both men and women do this. You find that your partner is just trying to have you at arm's length and control not just your finances, but the way you dress, the way you look, who your friends are, what family you talk to. Like, what you're watching, what you're listening to. They're trying, what church you go to, what mosque you go to. Like, they're really trying to keep you at arm's length because they feel like that's the only way that they can keep you. That's the only way that you guys can be together. The moment you go out of that circle that he has trusted, then you might start to have other experiences that will cause you to go like, oh, light bulb moment. I really just don't like this man anymore, or he's not actually what I want. I have other options. So they're trying to limit the number of options you have in life in general so that they can keep you in that relationship. And this can be seen a lot of times when, for example, you're like, where are you? And you tell them, for example, no, I'm visiting this friend. Like, which friend is this? How do I not know about them? Why didn't you tell me you were going to visit your friend? I thought you said you were going to come home at like 7. And immediately you like don't pick up his calls, for example. He's calling everyone, your mother, your grandmother, everybody. It's like, where is this girl? I can't find her. I can't find her. Some examples of control.
Exactly. And also with a man being insecure, he is always right, okay? His word is the law. It's either his word or the highway. If you don't agree with what he's saying, you are being disrespectful. And this actually came up in a conversation I saw on Instagram, and I really related to it because it's something I do. And this babe was saying, I don't correct my man. And I was like, I also don't correct him either. Because I gave him my perspective, and I trust him enough to take my perspective into consideration and self-correct. That is positive, as opposed to, no, you're wrong, it's this and this and this. I like, okay, maybe if we did this, this, if he takes my perspective and he considers it and self-corrects, well and good. If he doesn't, I'll be like, you know what, I played my part, that's it. But I don't feel slighted. I don't feel like he said, we are not eating bread in this house. It's going to be ngwashe forever. And if we eat bread, we are disrespecting him as the man of the house, and it's wrong. If he says you cannot go to work, you cannot go to work because he is the provider, and you going to work is disrespectful to him. That is control. That is him, being very dominant in a negative way in your space, and you have no say. If he says, yes, amesema, tuendele, you need to excuse yourself, because why?
No. I agree. You need to excuse yourself because why?
Because why are you still there?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Because why are you still there? And also, ultimately, understand, Turi is actually making a very good point, wherein it's not just a man who does this. You find that in some families, it is the woman who is always right. And they will lord this over everyone in that household, and you have to accept that they are right. Otherwise, it's you or the highway. As in, it's their way or the highway. You better pick one. If you want to go out, can you leave? So it happens both ways. And a lot of times we speak about men because unfortunately we are women, and therefore our partners are automatically men. Yeah, you understand? So we're not saying it's just a male thing. It's a partner thing. It could be your woman or your man. If they're exempting these, they are definitely insecure. True. Now, we move on to another very, very important one. The ones who bully you. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who never sees anything is right with you?
Okay.
You do your hair today, it's like, why are you trying to show us your forehead? They didn't tell you when they were braiding your hair that you have a 5 head, not a 4 head, and you need to cover that up.
That
you
was a
wear
long 2 years for me.
It was a long 2
years. Anything you do would be wrong.
Yeah.
You put on something is like, you need to lose weight because you're looking some type of way. And you're thinking, what? I am at my best, I am shining. You do your makeup is like, we're chana na mambo ya makeup. It's not working for you. Imagine. And you just erase it because you're like, wow, okay. You do your hair, he's like, your hair looks funny. After you spent like 4 hours
sitting down,
people pulling your hair in different directions, Kenyatta Market to Mapaja. You endured women's thighs and their DNA and skin cells in your hair, and then you come home and someone's like, you're highwaysy.
And even worse, there are those now who bully you in front of your friends and your family. Now, like, this has gone from being in-house to now outside. Like, you're hanging out with your friends and they're like, oh my God, I love your new hair. And they're like, ay, mbono unamdanganya? Why are you lying to her? You should tell her that she needs to, try and do this other weave or do this other wig. Or, you're over there telling your friends how you've accomplished this one thing, like you've just gotten a promotion, and they're like, "Aye, but I've always known you could have done better. Like, in fact, this is not the career that you should have been doing. Can you guys tell her?" And now they're constantly embarrassing you and bullying you in front of your friends, and it's always just awkward. Like, you're hanging out with your friends, and they're all like, "Oh, okay, what's he gonna say now? What's gonna happen now?" So there are people who are bullies, and it does come from insecurity.
And gaslighting.
Kaka.
Ooh, gaslighting. Let me tell you, gaslighting is when you know what has happened, but they are trying to convince you that your reality is wrong. You are a mad woman and what you saw is not correct. And they take it to such extreme lengths. You'll be like, I saw you at the mall with this girl and you guys were holding hands and being lovey-dovey. Are you cheating? And they'll be like, what do you mean? Who did you see? I was not at the mall. And now you start questioning yourself because you're like, okay, am I a mad woman? Did I project? Did I think of his behavior so much so that I started seeing my own things? And you start to second guess yourself. And the reality is, the real thing is, what you say was correct. You saw him at the mall with another girl, but he has just turned it around and asked you, are you a mad woman? Who did you see? And now you're second guessing yourself like, okay.
Did I actually see him?
Did I actually see him? Maybe it was
someone
someone who
else?
looks like him. You know,
could have been.
maybe someone who looks like him with the sweater I bought him was at the mall with this girl. You know,
Yeah,
that's an
tricky.
issue.
Insecurity is maddening. Another one is this. I'll combine these two as we wrap up. He will always check your phone, and will always think you have feelings for your ex. Like, you cannot convince this person that you're over your ex and you love them. It will always be something. Oh, it's because your ex did. You will wear a different outfit for a day. It's like, oh, you like the outfit because your boyfriend bought you, your ex-boyfriend got it for you. And you're like, what? Huh? Wait, what? You will be texting someone and it's like, oh, now you're talking to your ex because I refuse to give you. What? So these two things go especially hand in hand. They will always be convinced that you want to get back with your ex and there's nothing you can do to convince them that you will not. And unfortunately, that is the worst one because it will consistently be a plague, a thorn in your hip. Checking your phone as well. Unless you've given someone access to your phone, there's no point of him checking your phone. So when you're over there, you're on your phone, is like, let me see who you are texting. Allah, for what reason?
That's
For
an
what?
issue.
For what? In case you've seen some of these signs being exempted by your partner, it's time for you to call them out on it
Yeah.
and do it in a delicate way that they